Hey everybody, it's Kristen with Catalyst Consulting. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how to prove your value online, particularly with social media. This is something that people struggle with when I'm giving social media and marketing advice. We talk a lot about value add and how most of your posts should be value add only. A few of them should be either asking for the sale or advertising your sales. So the ratio on that is usually 80-20, but a lot of people don't really understand what exactly value add is. So I've kind of broken it down into a few different analogies, but one that seems to make a lot of sense to people is comparing it to a brick and mortar business where you can go in, you can talk to a person face to face, you can ask the questions that you have. We're a lot of times online trying to have our voices be heard and then also demonstrate what we do, and then simultaneously trying to get new clients. So this can be extra challenging for those of us that sell and offer services as a product, but it does affect people who make and sell products too. So I kind of look at it as the ability to demonstrate what it is that you do and why what you do is important to other people. So if you're a product maker or crafter or anything along those lines, showing your product is important. Showing your product without the price attached to it is kind of the key here. So you're talking about what goes into making your product. You're talking about why people like your product. Something that a lot of people like to see too is kind of how it's made videos, little clips of maybe what goes into what you make for your product. Those are kind of fun. I always like seeing stuff like that too. So if you, let's say, make lavender bundles, just a little bit of the process of how you cut, how you trim, do you dry them, how do you tie the bows, whatever it might be, something that's just kind of like your average person doesn't always see that. And it also adds value to what you offer. They see some of the work that goes into what you're doing and why it would cost what it costs. When it comes to services, it can be a little bit more challenging, but it still holds true. So if you have a service that you provide for someone, let's say you're a hairstylist or something like that, you can still demonstrate your knowledge and expertise. And if you offer just a service like I do, for example, which is consulting, it's sharing my knowledge and expertise when it relates to those kinds of things. So for me, sharing my expertise and knowledge a lot of times comes in the form of best practices or pro tips or things that people ask me about. I get a lot of the same types of questions and help a lot of my clients out with the same types of things over and over again. So those are the things that I usually share with people because those are also most likely the things that other people have questions about. So I'm not necessarily just giving my product or knowledge away for free. It's a way for people to kind of see at a glance what I can provide for them and the knowledge and expertise that I can share. So if they're like, oh, shoot, that's actually a really good idea, or I hadn't even thought about that, I'm so glad she mentioned it. Those kinds of things are the things that like help people understand what it is that I do, because business consulting is kind of vague and half the time I don't even know how to describe it to people. So it's an ability for me to demonstrate some of the breadth of what I can offer for my clients, because it's essentially strategy, planning, project management, long-term vision, goals and stuff like that. But there's so much more that goes into it. So it's an ability for me to kind of snapshot some of those things and be like, hey, just so you know, I have this knowledge too. I can talk to you about social media strategy. I don't love it. It's not really what I ultimately want to do, but helping people come up with their strategy is what I do. And that's actually what I really enjoy. And because social media is such a top of mind topic right now, for all businesses, it comes up constantly. Like it's almost the number one thing that people ask me for help with. So I just kind of tie in the big picture vision and strategy and help people put together their own plan. So yeah, think about value add and how you really demonstrate why you're different, why your product is better or good for certain people. Think about how you would demonstrate your services if you were in person and apply that to an online strategy. And yes, it's probably video. I've been struggling with that a little bit myself and have come up with kind of a more video related plans. So how would you do it if you were brick and mortar? If you were meeting someone face to face and explaining or demonstrating your product, your services, or your knowledge, and then apply that same strategy to the internet. And that's really going to make all the difference.